Have you ever heard someone say they launched their online course without an audience and they made like $60,000 in 3 days? Is it really possible to achieve those numbers without having anyone to sell to? Grab a beverage and cozy up, because today I plan on totally debunking that myth to show you why, if you want to hit your revenue goals, you actually need to be focusing on growing an audience. I'm Genevieve Rachal, a Facebook and Instagram ad strategist and online marketing coach for creative entrepreneurs who want to master digital marketing strategies that allow them more time freedom, greater work-life balance, and increased income possibilities. And today, I'm debunking the old "you don't need an audience to sell your online course or coaching program" myth. If you've ever been told that you don't need an audience in order to launch your program, you might want to think again. Having a pre-existing audience is a key to a successful launch, and without one, it's going to be almost impossible to hit realistic launch figures. The truth is, you have to have people to sell to, and that's why having this audience is key to having a successful launch. Any type of online selling is all about numbers. Your conversion rates, the number of people who actually see your offer when it's live, all of those things are super crucial in determining how much money you're actually going to make in the end. It's important to remember that like a fraction of your audience is actually going to see your sales post, a fraction of those people are going to click through to your sales page, and then when it comes down to the end of the day, only about 1 to 2% of your audience that actually make it to that sales page are actually going to buy. And this is actually considered a good conversion rate. So for every 100 people that hit your sales page, you can realistically expect 1 or 2 people to buy out of those. Again, this is considered a pretty good conversion rate for the online coaching and course creation space. So this really starts to put things into perspective when it comes to knowing how much traffic and pre-warmed audience you actually need to have to make your launch a real success. If someone tries to sell you a program with the angle, you don't need an audience to sell your online course or program, just know that typically they're showing you how to use other people's audiences. These are strategies like going on a podcast world tour, doing joint ventures, or even, participating in bundles and summits. There's nothing wrong with these. This is actually dubbed as, audience borrowing, where the idea is to put yourself in front of other people's already established audiences, and it works really well. If you know that every time you go on someone's podcast, you get 100 new signups for your email list, and you love being on podcasts, well, then you go find those podcasts and you grab some lemon tea to keep your voice fresh. There's absolutely nothing wrong with these strategies, and they all work if there's something that suits your personality and your energy levels. But here's the lie. You're still growing an audience of your own when you're doing that work to get in front of other people's. So sure, you may be doing it without ads or without social media or whatever they're saying that you don't have to do, but there's still work involved and you're still growing your own audience. When it comes to online marketing, there are no right or wrong strategies in business. Just what is right or wrong for you and what fits into the type of business or life that you want and what aligns with the time and energy that you have. Most people who are selling you on these "you don't have to have an audience" tactics are trying to dig into your vulnerability that you don't have that much time and you don't have time to grow an audience. But the truth is it actually takes more time to create strategies to go get in front of other people's audiences and convert them into your own, because you have to go on people's podcasts, or you have to, show up for interviews and things like that. And again, if that suits your personality and you have time and you want to put effort into that, there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't want you to fall into this trap of thinking that there is a way to actually launch your course or launch your program without needing to get in front of a lot of people. So how can you actually grow your pre-launch audience? Well, number one, I hope you're planning this way before, like 2 weeks before your launch. You should have started it like a long time ago. So regardless of what method you decide to roll with first, you want to make sure you have a plan in place to capture and nurture the new people that you're going to be exposed to. You don't want to go putting yourself out there if you don't have a way to actually capture new people's information and a way to nurture them. So that means, basically going and digging out your best performing lead magnet and promoting it wherever you decide that you're going to show up. So once someone's downloaded your lead magnet, you don't want to stop there. You want to make sure you have an amazing follow-up email sequence. You want to make sure that you're touching base regularly, whether, that's once a week or once a month. Just make sure that you're staying consistent so that your subscribers know what to expect from you. And you want to continue to nurture that relationship with those subscribers instead of getting them on your list and then they never hear from you again until it's time to launch. One reason that organic methods can actually throttle your growth in this department is that getting enough people to actually see your lead magnet landing page can take quite a while. And that's where you can use Facebook and Instagram ads to amplify things. One of my favorite strategies for list growth is to use instant forms. These are an on-meta lead form that are easy to set up. They don't require any Teggy pixel installation. And you can use them to get your lead magnet or your freebie in front of targeted audiences from anywhere, usually $5 to $10 a day is a great budget to start with. This means that you can be growing your email list and your audience in the background while you stay in your creative zone of genius. The benefits of having a warm audience when it comes time to launch are numerous. You'll have this group of raving fans who you've been interacting with on a regular basis, and it makes it a lot easier for you to hit your revenue goals. My client Amber is the perfect example of this. When she came to work with me, she'd already created her course on how to create a six-figure handmade jewelry business on Etsy. She sold a few courses in her beta testing phase, but then she really tapped out because she didn't have an audience to actually launch the course to. She'd also invested a lot of money into a program that told her that she didn't need an audience to launch to. Then it taught a strategy where she'd need to be showing up on a different podcast every week for the next year to piggyback off other people's audiences to grow her own. Not only did that stress Amber out as a self-proclaimed introvert, but she didn't have time to pitch podcasts, work on her schedule around the podcaster's schedule so that she could record them, promote them, and all the other things that really come along with that. She desperately wanted to be able to stay in her creative zone of genius. Well, like I mentioned before, this is still growing your audience by getting in front of other people's existing audiences. It's just taking the scenic route to do it. Amber had some pretty big revenue goals, and she was determined to turn her course into a semi-passive stream of income. She wanted to be able to stop having to churn out all of these physical products in order to pay her bills, and instead be able to create for the fun of it and feel passionate about her craft again. However, she realized that she didn't have an audience and she was really struggling to grow her email list. She also knew that if she didn't build an audience before her next launch, then she wasn't going to be able to hit any revenue goals, and her program probably wasn't going to be very successful. And usually what happens whenever people create a course and their launch doesn't go like they thought it should, they end up just scrapping it, thinking that there's something wrong with the course or the offer, creating something new, when really they just didn't even have enough people to sell it to validate the offer in the first place. So she really needed to figure out a way that she could continue running her handmade business, grow her audience, fill her orders, and continue making that profit until she could launch her course again and get that successful. Fortunately, Amber reached out to me and we worked together to create an amazing low-risk, high-reward ad strategy that allowed her to grow her audience by about 10 to 15 people a day. So she didn't have to break the bank. She didn't have to take too much time out of her already busy schedule to actually implement an audience growth strategy. And when she was ready to launch her course a few months later, she had actually already grown her list to a little bit over 1,000 engaged subscribers. And in the end, that next launch resulted in a little bit over $20,000 in sales. So if someone tells you that you can launch your course or program without an audience, take 2 steps back, grab your wallet, and run. Building and nurturing an audience is key to a successful course or program launch. And if you skip this step, you can't be surprised whenever you're wondering where your next client's coming from or you don't hit your launch revenue goals. If you're looking for more ways to use ads to make your life and business easier, be sure to subscribe to my channel and then head over and check out how I help my clients turn organic content on its head by using a low-cost paid ad strategy that increases their online visibility overnight.